What is up? I hope you're having a great day. We are going to update this old hutch, and we're going to start by giving the top a good update and taking it off of the bottom piece. So let's get started by trying to take the two apart. On the back of the hutch, there was some instructions to unscrew about 4 or 5 bolts. So I'm going through and unscrewing a couple of them. When I get to the middle drawer, my drill doesn't fit underneath of it, so I'm gonna have to use a socket and ratchet right here. And then there's two more on the other door, but it did not come apart like I thought it was going to easily just lift off. So I went back to the back, reread the instructions, and I missed two of the screws. So I have to go back and redo that, but that still didn't work. We ended up having to pry this off with the crowbar, and I don't have a video of it, but the top actually doesn't have a solid top all the way. It's just a hole. So I'm going to have to figure out at a later time what I'm going to do with this bottom piece and how to put a new top on it. But for now, let's get into cleaning and the rest of the steps on this top. We're going to start by giving this piece a good cleaning. So it is pretty old, I think, and it's dusty and just a little bit gross. So we're going to use the shop vac and get all the cobwebs and loose dust and stuff like that off. And then we'll go in with some Simple Green after that and scrub it down, try to get all those oils and everything else that's left on it cleaned up. And then we'll also take off the hardware. I plan on taking off this wire on the glass, but we're gonna have to figure out how this is attached. So right now my plan is just to cut the wire and hope that it just falls out, but we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm starting out with the shop vac. This is really important because it'll make your cleaning step a whole lot easier, especially if you do have cobwebs and loose dirt on there. Or I keep mine in the garage, so I get, sand particles and everything else on it while I'm working on other projects. So this is really important to help me clean a lot easier. This did end up working just to get some wire cutters and cut all the way down on this like wire mesh basically, and it will come right off. Now I'm going to get started sanding. So I did two different techniques for sanding on this one. I used my orbital sander, and I also had to hand sand some of the details on the top and the bottom. So for my orbital, I use a DeWalt electric orbital sander, and I use a 220 grit. I knew that I was painting the outside of this piece, so I only need to scuff up the surface, meaning I only need to basically get the shine off of it so my primer and my paint have something good to adhere to. So I'll use my orbital on the flat surfaces that don't have many curves, and then on the top trim and the bottom trim, I'll hand sand that just so I can get into those crevices a little bit easier. I want to fill in the wood grain on the sides of this hutch, so I'm using dry decks and water, and I'm mixing it to become mostly a liquid, and then using a paintbrush to brush it in to try to fill in any of that grain on the side or any. There are some scratches as well, so that was helping fill in those scratches. And I did it on both sides, and then we'll just sand this off after it dries. As you can see in this video, a lot of the time to flip furniture is in the prep work, and that's because you really want to have a good, clean, and sanded surface. That way, your pieces are really high quality, and your paint or your stain or whatever you're going to do to it lasts a long time. So it's really important to focus on your prep work. Make sure you clean it fully. Make sure you sand it. That way, we have a good surface for our paint and our primer to adhere to, and that would really make for higher quality products in the end. Next up is priming. I'm using Zinsser 123 primer, and I'm only doing one coat. I didn't have any bleed through, so I was good to go with just one. In between coats of primer and paint, I will sand with the 400 grit sandpaper and then wipe it clean between each coat as well. Next up is painting. I'm using Wiseowl 1 hour enamel in the color jet black. I'm going to be doing 2 coats of this, and it has a really good durable finish, so I won't use a top coat after. It has a top coat built in, so it helps not have so many steps and you have to spray so many times. So that's one of the reasons why I really love using this product, and it gives you that really good, durable, and high quality finish. But again, I will be sanding with the 400 grit in between each coat, but not on the last coat. I added the doors back on and gave it these gold vintage knobs. And then I also added these hairpin legs to give it a little bit of a modern flair as well. And I staged it so I can take pictures and put it up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. But if you guys like this, let me know in the comments and like and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll catch you on the flippity flip.